से कौन मारता है बे? रक्षक नहीं होता, थोड़ा राक्षस हो तुम, राक्षस।
I make a mess when I come through, kicking balls down, you would swear it's kung fu.
I have to ask you, Nikhil. I watch a lot of action movies for my job, and I'm an action movie super fan. But it's rare that I've seen a movie that had kind of what Kill offered, the close combat action, which I thought kind of blew me away because I've never seen a movie like shot that way in such close quarters. Usually when you see like a martial arts movie, there's room for people to move around. And I thought that gave Kill a really different flavor. And I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about your inspiration and the way you put it together, because I thought it was awesome.
Thank you so much. So what you're rightly saying, because the train over here and the train back in India are very different. Over here you have a lot of space. Over there is this much passage. So it was very difficult to, it was very challenging to shoot in such a confined space. So what we tried to do is that, we try to make a set which can be moved around. All the walls of the set could be moved around. And we did a lot of prep. We made a 10 feet, miniature set first, and we used all kinds of so there was hydraulic, there was pulleys, there were people who would push and pull the walls. So, when we started shooting, it was in such a way that the entire set would collapse and would come back in the same time, in the same shot, because my camera had to move constantly, and because there was so much fighting. And even while shooting, what happens in an action film is that, you shoot from far. Because of the, space constraint, our DOP, Rafi Mahmood, he just went very close to the characters. So most of our fight sequences have been shot on wide lenses, but they're really up and close because it's a close combat and it's in confined spaces. So there's so many times when Lakshya would be fighting and he would end up hitting the camera.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Lakshya, I wanted to ask you because your fights are incredible in the movie, and I was just wondering if you could talk to me a little bit about your training and your background. Like, what's your background like in martial arts? Because you looked absolutely incredible on camera.
So back in school, like I used to do a little bit of wrestling here and there, but I'm not a trained fighter like that. What are you seeing?
Really?
Yeah, I'm not as trained as Amrit in the film. Of course, like I've done my share of school fights and street brawls that used to happen. So I've done all of that. But yeah, jokes apart, this film required a different level of training. Thanks to Mr. O. Everything happened under his supervision. He made us real warriors. He made us like what you were seeing on screen. It's all him. Parvesh Sheikh, also the action director. And these guys they were amazing, and they made everything look very easy. We trained for over 8 months every single day, like be it on Sunday, like be it a public holiday, it doesn't matter. We are there, we are training, we are hustling, and not only martial arts, but there were so many even other actors like in the film. If you see the goons, Raghav, he was trained like he's not supposed to be a trained fighter, but he was trained how not to be a trained fighter. So there's so much of prep, there's so much of process that has happened, that has undergone for this film, because of which like now you like the film, and because of which this is happening, right? So yeah, rigorous training, aggressive sort of process that we had to go through. We were at it, and I think we have done a decent job with it.
Oh, I think you guys made an amazing action movie. I really hope it's a huge hit, and I hope that people go see it in theaters, because it's the kind of movie that really deserves to be seen on a big screen with a crowd. So thank you very much for making this awesome movie, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hey, Bechan!
जाकर बोल दे उसे आ रहा हूँ मैं छुड़ाने.
Pleasure to meet both of you.
Lovely to meet you.
Hello, thanks, Karan. Karan, I've got a question for you actually to start with. So, I'm a big action movie fan, and I've always enjoyed the action movies that have come out of Bollywood and out of India. But I have to say, Kill really pushes the envelope, because I've never seen one that was this intense and this hardcore, for lack of a better word. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, because I know that as both a producer and a director, you have plenty of experience doing these kinds of movies, but Kill seems completely different.
Well, actually, contrary to what you're saying, I've had no experience in producing action movies. We've produced one in 2011. And then, there was action in a few other movies. We did one spectacle film 2 years ago called Brahmastra, which had action, but it was more VFX and more like fantasy action. But this kind of visceral, claustrophobic action, genre film action, is the first of its kind even for India. We've never actually had a film like this, which is high concept, high octane, visceral action. Just like for me, it was like a complete departure. And like you said, kind of pushing the envelope, but we tore the envelope with Kill. And it's like, and I'm exhilarated to be attached to a film which was always a Guneet's vision, Nikhil's vision, and I'm so glad it came on my table, because my table was not the table to go to with a film like this. But I'm so glad that they came to me, so I can have my name proudly attached to this absolutely bloodbath of a beautiful film.
Well, Guneet, I mean, I have to ask you, because I saw this movie at Midnight Madness at TIFF.
Oh, wow.
And people loved it, and I loved it too. But it's also one of the first movies that, like a Bollywood film, that's going out day and date with a theatrical distributor in the US, because I know that a lot of these movies play, especially in my city here, theatrically, but this is getting a simultaneous, more or less, theatrical release with an American studio. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it does feel like this has the potential to really break through in a different way.
Yes, we really hope so. So, yes, it's an action film, and we were excited. Post the midnight screening, we had several studios reach out, and we're just so excited that Lionsgate and we partnered on this, because Lionsgate is a house of action film. It's also a testimony that the craft that we were trying to put together with Indian technicians, a film shot in India, first of its kind from India, this non-stop action hand combat, that it landed so well. In fact, Dharma Studios is the one that funded the entire film, and which is Karan's company, and they are distributing in India. So this is the studio distributing in India, which is one of the best in India. And then to have Lionsgate in US, day on day, for me as a lead producer of independent films, it's absolutely out of a dream run. We've had a great run at Tribeca last night, and now we can't wait for July 4th, the Independence Day release.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be a huge hit. I really think that it has the chance of breaking through in a similar way to The Raid. But could either of you see this as potentially being, a way forward for Bollywood action movies, right? To have more movies done in this vein.
Absolutely. To more genre films, to more breaking new grounds, to doing more with our technicians. I'm excited that this is all Indian technicians. We also had the choreographer from Korea, Mr. O, who'd been part of Snowpiercer. But yes, it's a full Indian production, and it's a first, like you absolutely put together for even Lionsgate to put out there. So mainstream studio release, yeah.
Well, I had a blast. Thank you both very much for talking to me.
Thank you very much. Thank you for speaking with us. Thank you.
I hope people see it in theaters, by the way. It's great in theaters.
Yes.
Yes.
They have to. It has to be a community watch.